Is there a massive Jesus revival happening right now in the NFL and college football? From CJ Stroud to Derek Carr, NFL stars seem to be always talking about Jesus. So, what on earth is God up to? Welcome to the Can I Trust the Bible live stream. I'm Raj Nair here in San Diego. And on your screen in just a second, you will see two-time first team All-American at the University of Oklahoma, the third overall pick in the 2010 NFL draft, a six-time NFL Pro Bowler, and one of the funniest dudes I know, my man, Gerald McCoy. My brother, how you doing?
What's going on? What is going on? What is going on?
I am so excited to have this conversation, my friend. Now, all of a sudden, I see the name of Jesus like everywhere in
Yes.
football. And this is probably unwise what I'm about to do, which is this is a gospel show. This is a Bible show. So we try very, very hard not to alienate, not to, create lines of division. But since we're talking about football, I'm an alum of wait for it, Ohio State University. So I'm going to remove this candle real fast and put that right there as we're talking about CJ Stroud and stuff.
I see that.
And speaking of Ohio State, over 20 Ohio State football players showed up to fall camp rocking a shirt that said something about Jesus. Even Emeka Buka arrived at Big Ten Media Days wearing a shirt that said, I heart Jesus. Obviously, CJ Stroud and Brock
Yes.
Purdy. Gerald, what is going on?
You know what I think is, which is depending on how you look at it, it's a positive and a negative. And sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. Where we're at in our climate, culturally, is we're in the age of inclusion. And what comes with inclusion is you can't leave anything out. You can't leave anybody out. And what people are expecting right now is regardless of what a person believes in, how they feel, who they think they are, who they think they were supposed to be, they have to be included. What comes with inclusion is more people being willing to show and be who they are unapologetically, because the repercussions are not what they used to be. There used to be a time where a person would be afraid to say, I love Jesus, or a person would be afraid to be in a crowd of people and say, wait, hold up, let me pray over my food. Well, those times are passing. And I just believe that that's where we're at right now. People are able to be themselves, or more confident with being themselves and representing and saying out loud and showing with actions what they believe in without worrying about the repercussions of doing it.
So you think it's just that people are less scared, not that necessarily there are more people in the NFL and in college football that are, finding faith in Jesus?
Yeah, because I don't think the numbers growing. I think the amount of people, like you said, that are willing to say out loud, hey, me too.
Yeah.
And there would be times where I'd be in a locker room and a person would come to me and say, gee, how do you not do this? How do you not do that? Or why are you doing that? But then when everybody comes to the locker room, they back doing everything they was doing, but they would wait until it was empty to ask me, because they were intrigued and they really wanted to change their lives. They really wanted to fix it, but it was too much of, I gotta be the man. I gotta fit in.
Right.
And now who we are is who we are. Everybody's being accepted for who they are, or who they believe they are, or what they believe in. And now there's really no ridicule for it anymore. Not as much.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that because you and I obviously met in Israel when I led a group of NFL players to Israel. As I think my third trip of leading NFL players through Israel, and there was this one story that just sticks with me. It wasn't in your trip, but it's something that has really profoundly impacted me. The trip before you had people like Tyson Alualu, some really great dudes, and I
Me and
remember.
Tyson in the same draft class, by the way.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Tommy
guy.
Harris, too. Obviously, you're like
Yeah,
best
Tommy's
friends
my
with.
mentor. Yep, it's my
Exactly.
big brother.
Exactly. So I remember this one story, and he might be embarrassed by me sharing this, but it's very edifying. This story I'm about to share with him. So we're in Tel Aviv on the last day, and I'm with a group of like kind of younger NFL players, and they pull me aside like, dude, you're not going to believe what just happened. I was like, well, tell me. And they're like, okay, so first off, to set the scene, you could make the argument that Tel Aviv has the most beautiful people on planet Earth. Like
Yeah.
everyone's perfectly tan, wearing absolutely nothing. Like it's just beautiful
Right.
people.
It's
And they're like,
incredible.
so we were sitting there and we saw this NFL coach in our group walking on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these beautiful girls were walking right by him, and he never looked at them.
Right.
And he just kept his eyes straight and kept moving. And they're like, he had no idea that we were watching him. The
Mm-hmm.
NFL coach was Jim Caldwell, former coach of the Detroit Lions. And he probably doesn't even know this story, but he had such an impact by actually living out his faith
Yeah.
that you can't even begin to describe how much that even impacted me. So what is it like living for God in the NFL when I'm obviously there's crazy temptation
Mm-hmm.
hitting you guys left and right, but how do you actually practically do that in a setting that's everything's been handed to you?
Because you have to understand there's a difference in religion and faith. And religion comes with tradition, religion comes with habit, religion comes with routine. Faith comes with sacrifice. Faith comes with commitment, and faith comes with struggle. And my family, I tell people all the time, I'm not a big religion. We don't do religion. We do faith. Religion is go to church on Sunday, go to church on Wednesday for Bible study, Easter, those times. That's religion because that's what we're Christians. This is what we do. Yeah, I'm a Christian. I go to church. I do. It's not faith. Faith is being in the NFL locker room and understanding certain conversations are taking place and you getting up and leaving.
Wow.
Being in the NFL, in the NFL limelight and being ridiculed by the media for being too nice of a person. But not changing. Being in an NFL locker room and people doing certain things and stopping them when you come around or going to do certain stuff and not inviting you because they know that's not what he does.
Wow.
Being in an NFL locker room and people coming to you for certain situations because they don't have to wonder if this guy is really doing this. They can see it on him. He doesn't curse. All you see is his kids and his wife. He's not going where these certain groups are going. He's not sitting talking about what these certain groups are talking about. Where he's at in his locker, you can see his Bible. When Bible study's going on, you can walk past, see him in there. During chapel, he's there. But not only that, he may be leading a session.
Yeah.
When it's time for the team to do a group prayer in the shower, he's leading the prayer. There's a lot of different evidences to show when a person's living by faith instead of being religious.
Well, I remember when we were in Israel and you were kind of one of the leaders of, hey guys, let's wake up really in the morning, because we're already waking up early in the morning to go on these trips every day, but let's wake up even earlier. Let's sit by the Sea of Galilee and have Bible studies. And to me, that was just so cool seeing you lead that, man. Because I'm like, this is a guy that doesn't have to do this, but he wants to do it because you've been changed from the inside out. I have a lot of football stories about that came through Israel. I remember I was on a bus when I was leading one of these groups with Jace Robertson from the Duck Dynasty. And he was like, hey man, like we got this guy coming, because I'm a Buckeye. He said, we got this guy coming in, this transfer from Ohio State, but no one's really talking about him. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, before it even happens, this guy that's coming in that no one's ever heard of, named Joe Burrow, is going to rock LSU's world. He's like, all right, man, I'll take the root for it. So lots of fun stories. But what impacted you the most of our time in Israel together?
Being baptized for sure.
In the Jordan River, yeah.
In the Jordan River, having an opportunity to speak where Jesus spoke, the Sermon on the Mount, having opportunity to pray and speak in the same spot. And like I have video, I'm sending it to you, of me afterwards, just in tears, like crying, like a baby. And it's like, you read these things, and my parents raised me to be a certain way, but my dad always told me, he said, G, I'm going to always put God in your face. I'm going to let you know what the truth is and what I believe is the truth. You're going to have to choose whether you believe it and whether you stick to it or not. Fast forward, I'm 33, 34 years old, however old I was, and I'm speaking to a group of my peers in the same spot that Jesus spoke. That, to me, was me living out my calling and what God called me to be, the type of person he called me to be. I'm on TV. I work for NFL Network. I have my own show on Yahoo. Being in the media, being in the forefront, I've been a captain on every football team I've ever been on. I was the head of FCA in high school and college. I led Bible studies in Tampa. I led Bible studies in Carolina. I do a lot of different things where I'm out front speaking. I've spoken to stadiums full of people, but doing it in that realm put me in a different feeling of that is what I'm supposed to be. This is who I've been called to be, and I just lived it the way I was supposed to live it, because a lot of people, different people had opportunities to speak at different places, to pray at different places, but mine was where Jesus actually spoke. That right there to me was everything. That's what impacted me the most, because it impacted me directly. We're seeing all these historic things, but what impacted me directly was me doing something that I've done over and over again, but doing it in that spot.
Wow. Well, you definitely have paved a way for faith in the NFL. But let's talk about someone who's a Buckeye. CJ Stroud, man, NFL Rookie of the Year last year. That guy, people this is a little embarrassing, but like I grew up in Columbus. My mom worked at Ohio State for 30 years. I went to Ohio State. I could hear the band warming up from high school. Like I'm an Ohio State Buckeye. I've named my cats and my dogs after former Buckeyes.
I'm a Jim Tressel guy.
Dude, my cat, before he died, rest in peace, was named Tressel. Tressel to me is one of the greatest individuals.
I feel like Jim Tressel's swag was like kind of subtle, but it was like, I'm really that guy.
I have worn a sweater vest for Halloween many a time.
Yeah, Jim Tressel was that guy.
And the way that he got kicked out of Ohio State because a couple of his dudes sold tattoos sold trophies. Yeah. Anyway, we're not getting into that, but to me, Jim Tressel is just an exquisite human being. If you're watching this, coach, love you. But CJ Stroud, man, like he's making waves, because if you want to talk about someone who has been gifted the world, I mean, everyone wants a piece of CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on him and how he's able to still edify Jesus, yet he's been given the world at such a young age?
CJ Stroud understands faith versus religion. CJ Stroud didn't come in with a gimmick. He didn't come in with an act. What we've seen some people do. What CJ Stroud does, he actually lives it, and you can tell a very simple way for people who can't figure it out. Man, CJ, is it real? Is it real? When he's playing that game, when he played his last year at Ohio State, and when we watched him as a rookie, everybody said this guy is doing something you're not supposed to do as a rookie. His eyes and his focus. So I'm going to take football and I'm going to put it into faith really quick. Football, as a quarterback, they always tell you keep your eyes downfield. Don't look at the rush, feel the rush. Keep your eyes focused on what it's supposed to be focused on. That is exactly what faith is.
Wow.
When your eyes are focused on what God told you to keep your eyes focused on. Live a life according to the purpose that I've called you to. So when he's focused on his purpose, that's what he's doing on the field. His mind is far beyond his years. It's far beyond his years. And that's not by coincidence. His maturity level, everything that he is, everything that he's been, it's real. And it's because of his faith. It's something that he's practiced. It's something that he lives and something he's committed to. And all that's done is carried over to his quarterbacking on the field.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is every opportunity he gets, he's blowing the trumpet. And blowing the trumpet just means, there was a book I read, and when they say blow the trumpet, when well, it didn't always have to be an enemy. When a messenger would come to a castle or anybody would come, the trumpets would be at the top of the castle and they would blow the trumpets to alert them that somebody's headed this way. So anytime CJ Stroud gets an opportunity to let everybody know who's the head of my life, why I live this way, why I am this way, the CJ Stroud y'all get, he's having the discernment to hear, okay, this is a time to blow the trumpet. And he never misses an opportunity.
Wow.
And faith is being accountable to your actions. CJ Stroud understood I may have had a slip up because the life got to me, but that's not who I'm supposed to be.
Come on.
And he called himself out on it publicly on a very popular platform. And he said, listen, this is who I'm supposed to be. That's not who I was being. I need to fix it. And that's what faith is. And that's why CJ Stroud has been the way he's been.
I don't say this casually. I'm very proud that CJ Stroud is who he is. Absolutely. And that he's a Buckeye. You know, I got my first real job. I mean, I worked at like CVS. My first real job was being an Ohio State football beat reporter, like during the time of like Malcolm Jenkins and Marcus Freeman and James Laurinaitis and all those guys.
Right.
And Tressel instilled like a faith aspect in the Ohio State program. But what CJ Stroud has done, even though, you know this, you lose to Texas, it's not good. He's lost to the team up north, not good. But I could care less. The way that he has represented Buckeye Nation as a legitimate follower of Jesus. I mean, if I were ever to buy a jersey, it'd be his. But you know, Gerald, I'm low key trying to start the TBN sports department. So if you ever want to come on over and we can do that, but let's start it off with this one question. The inaugural TBN sports department question: who you got as your final four in the college football playoff, and who do you got winning the whole thing? Currently, and by the way, the guy that's producing the show
unbiasedly
is a Tennessee Volunteer. He can't see him, but he's making sure that you're keeping it straight.
Unbiasedly,
yeah.
Ohio State.
There it is.
Georgia.
I'm
not sold on Alabama because I don't know how this new coach is going to carry over.
We have two Michigan. The same four. Michigan, get out of here.
Well, I said don't be biased.
I'm sorry.
Sharon Moore is my ex-teammate, and
is he really?
In him. Yeah, really?
You know what?
I believe in him.
I need to get saved every time I see someone with the Michigan shirt on. But
I know. I know. Yeah, I tried, but I'm not a fake person. Fourth is Oklahoma. I'm doing it.
Yeah, he's going for it.
I did it. I had to.
Brent Venables is going to take you to the Holy Land.
I had no other choice, man. There's no way my college football teammates, the fans, will allow me to get on here and pick a Final Four and not pick, Oklahoma.
So I had Georgia and Ohio State.
I can't do 12. I can't do 12. It's supposed to be 12 this year.
It's 12, but who's going to eventually get to the final? So I had Georgia and Ohio State. My wild card, just to mix it up, was Notre Dame, because I actually think Marcus Freeman has built a great program there. I think he's a fantastic coach and person. I don't know him personally, but I mean, I've interviewed him, and he was really close to Tressel back in the day. And my fourth, I'm almost afraid to say it now at this point, but there is this kid who played for like Ohio State for like 12 minutes named Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and
get
here's
the
the
heck out of here.
Sarkisian went into
What?
Bryant Denny and rolled the Tide with Saban a year before he probably should have. So I'm going to
One
say Boomer
year,
Sooner.
1 year is here's my thing with Texas. 1 year out of the last 15, maybe 10, and we're all of a sudden Texas is back from
Yeah.
1 year. They play good one season in which they lost to OU. People say we wasn't who we were, but they lost to us, but whatever. And now they're whatever. It's fine. It's fine. The reason I'm okay with Texas is because for years, the only thing that held the Big 12 up to be able to battle other conferences, it was SEC and the Big 12, unquestionably the top two. Texas and OU was the only thing that held us down enough to where we could say, well, we got these two and we could take on any other schools, any other conference, whatever. So I'll give you Texas, whatever, only because we are grouped together. And I get mad at Texas, my Texas friends that were players and the fan to say, you guys messed up the treaty. We were supposed to rock together. We can beef, but when we take on these other schools, y'all not holding up y'all's end of the bargain.
Here's the thing. Here's why I'm okay saying Texas, because when Sarkisian was at Alabama, obviously had Devontae Smith and Mac Jones and Jalen Waddle, but he Swiss cheese the Ohio State defense to a point where I'm like unrecognizable. So I think now that, obviously he's past his USC and Washington days, that I don't know. I think Texas, but you know what? I have more friends that went to Oklahoma, like Mike Keybone, who I think was one of your like chaplains back in the day. So I have a lot of Boomer Sooner fans. So I'll roll with
Keybone?
You. What? Yeah.
Keybone was one of my mentors in college.
Mike Keybone came with me to Israel.
He told me.
Yeah, I've been to his church in, I want to say, Lawton, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He took me out to what was it? The Comanche area. He is a brilliant man of God who understands God's covenant with Israel. Mike Keybone, Tom Harris, man, I know all your guys.
So Keybone, my version of speaking to groups is loosely based on Keybone's style.
Wow.
I watched him speak one time and said, when I do it, I'm going to do it like that.
I will be forwarding this link to Keybone immediately. So
yes, he knows that. He knows that I bid his style, whatever. Whatever. Think about it. Keybone didn't have you laughing the entire time you was around him.
Yep.
The entire time around Keybone, I'm just laughing.
He is hilarious. I'll tell you what, you're hilarious too. On the bus, I've led 30 some odd trips, and you're one of the most genuinely fun, full of the spirit guy that I've ever met. You're hilarious. I love you to death. I'm so excited that God's placed you in all these media positions.
For sure.
But in closing, buddy, for my friend here watching, what has all of this experience of God, temptation, the Bible, the NFL, now the NFL Network, and yet trying to live this godly way where you're bringing people to the kingdom. You've lived an incredible life. Is there one or two things that you think that you would like to share, one piece of advice, one nugget of wisdom that you want to depart us with?
Yeah, one of my buddies. There's a couple of things. My son, my oldest, I told him the same thing my dad told me. I'm gonna put God in your face. You have to decide whether you continue to trust and live this life. My son went back to Tampa before he transferred to Toledo, and I got a call from the pastor and said, hey, Marcellus has been coming to church every week. 22 years old, I'm not making him go. My daughter, we dropped her off last Wednesday, for college in Houston. Get a message she posts on her Instagram. Just because I'm not at home no more doesn't mean I don't stay in church. Wow. She has a Bible. She's headed to church. These are my oldest kids. These are my two oldest children. I told one of my buddies who's from the street, lived a certain life, always behaved a certain way, spoke, language was horrible. And he said he grew up in the church. His mom used to take him all the time to the church. And he was a question asker. He used to say, Why are we giving all this offering and we still walking? We don't even have a car. We're giving all this money to church. We're doing this and this. So it kind of pushed him away. What I told him is, and now he gave his life to Christ and he's turned his life around. What I told him is, I said, and this is going to sound very simple. And a lot of people are going to say, well, that's not very convincing, but it is. It's simple to me. To me, it's very simple. A lot of people don't believe in God. It might be atheists or whatever. Believe what you want to believe. Let's say that when we do leave this earth, there's nothingness. Okay? Will you know that you sacrifice all this stuff to live a life a certain way when you're gone anyway? You won't know. If there's a bunch of nothingness, you won't remember anyway. So you won't have a chance to regret, like, oh, I should have just did what I wanted. Or let's say there is a heaven and a hell, and you have the opportunity to live in one for eternity. I'm playing the odds of going to the better one. So I say, why not sacrifice now and live life for eternity with Christ? Because if there is nothing, you won't know anyway. Once I told my boy that, he said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I'd rather roll the dice and say, I want to go to the good side, opposed to if it is a heaven and a hell, and I just said with whatever, and I find out the hard way, I said, hey. So for me, I tell you this, and I'm going to leave y'all with this. We are a lot of flesh. This is where we live. But there's a lot of battles that are going on in those times where you're sitting by yourself and you can't control your thoughts, and you keep getting these negative thoughts. Where do you think the thoughts are coming from? Nothing negative comes from God. Anything bad or negative, recognize the source. Understand what your purpose is. When you see or hear negative, recognize the source and call Satan out on it. He hates. He hates to be called out on his negativity. But once you recognize your purpose and you stick to that purpose, understand this. Whatever your purpose is and why God put you here, he gave you everything you need to accomplish it.
Let's go.
Why would he give you a purpose and not give you everything necessary to accomplish that purpose? It's up to you whether you believe, whether you're going to be religious or whether you're going to have faith.
Gerald,
having a relationship is nothing other than having a conversation with God. Any relationship you have, friend, wife, husband, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, it doesn't matter. You have to have conversations. Religion versus faith.
Gerald McCoy, I love you to death, my brother. So excited to see what God's going to do in your life next. And this is my my Buckeye farewell to you, which is Boomer Sooner, my friend. Much love. God bless you, my friend.
All right, you too, brother.
Hey, I'm Raj Nair. Thank you for watching the Can I Trust the Bible YouTube channel. We hope this video gave you compelling evidence to trust in the validity of the Bible. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And ask your questions in the comments and share the video with your friends and skeptics. Thanks for watching.